Hey guys, it's Lily. Welcome back to my channel, Lily and the Library. So today I wanted to get started with some end of the year content. I know this stuff is probably going to be going up super late. So without further ado, let's get into my worst books of 2024.
You suck.
Okay, so I have 11 books in total that are 2 and 1 stars. I did only have one star this year, and that is my worst book of the year. I have an honorable mention and I have 8 DNFs. If you're wondering what I'm looking at, I do have my little list here written down so that I can make sure I cover everything. So my DNFs, in no particular order, were Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas, The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Kah, Lies and Weddings by Kevin Kwan, The Idea of You by Robin Lee, When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole, Dinosaurs by Lydia Millett, So This Is Christmas by Jenny Holiday, and Snow Place Like LA by Julie Murphy. Now, if you've been watching my content throughout the year, none of these are going to be a surprise to you. I have talked about them all, at least in some capacity, even if it was just glossing over saying that I DNF'd it. I have been trying to be better about DNFing books that are not enjoyable to me. I'm usually the kind of person that I need to finish it, even if I hate it. And then unfortunately, that will put me in a slump. So I just want to get better and more cutthroat about DNFing books because I'm not enjoying it. And it's time that I could be spent enjoying another book that I desperately want to read. So I don't have much to say about the DNFs for this year. Most of them I DNF'd because they were either nonsensical, I just didn't get what was going on, or it was boring. In the cases of Lies and Weddings and Catherine House, like Lies and Weddings, it was just boring to me. Catherine House was so confusing. I had no idea what was going on. The same thing with The Salt Grows Heavy. It was just, I was losing the idea of why I was even reading this book. If you can hear cat noises in the background, I am upstairs and we just got a new kitten. His name is Calcifer. I'm sure at some point he will be joining me, but he's little and he is playing his little heart out. And then we also have our adult cat Mochi who is mewing around. They are getting to know each other, and so we have some growing pains, but if you hear cat noises in the background, that's why. So just please bear with me on that. So that's really all I have to say about the DNFs. And I do want to get straight into the worst books. Like I said, I only have 11 that I'm going to talk about. I gave out a lot of 3 stars this year. There is one book that I gave a 3 star that I'm contemplating putting down to a 2 star because the more I think about it, the more I really did not enjoy this book, and that is I'm a Fan by, I believe, Sheena Patel. I was not a fan. I really almost hated this book. Hate is such a strong word when it comes to a book, and I feel like I hated my time with it. I hated that I read it because it was almost very superfluous. And when you boil it down, yeah, there is some commentary about certain things, but it's mainly one character pining for someone who, quite frankly, doesn't give a shit about her and judging another woman. Like, this was not the book I thought it was going to be. I don't really love to read books about other women hating on or trying to tear down other women. So I wasn't super impressed by that. I really don't care what the reasoning behind trying to discredit or shame or slander another woman is. I think it's not something that we need to do. You know, as women, we have so many other obstacles to overcome in this world, and each other should not be one of them. I am not here for this competitive aspect again, between women. Our world is very small, and, unfortunately, we have a lot of outside forces that pit us against each other, that make things competitive. And I I just feel like we should not be condoning this. We should not be co-signing this, absolutely not. So I did give it a 3 star in the moment, but as I continue to think on it, for the latter half of the year, I really have considered giving it a 2 star because I did not enjoy my time. I thought the book, it had some points, but they were lost by this character's constant complaining. So I wouldn't really recommend this unless you enjoy a woman who is pining for someone who doesn't care about her, who she shouldn't be pining. This guy is kind of like walking red flags. I really didn't care for this book. My honorable mention is sadly an arc that I got at the end of the year. It is Dashing Through the Snow by Laura Rush. It is a novella and it is part of a series, but I don't believe you needed to read any of the other books in the series for things to come together. I just did not really enjoy this book at all. I did give it 2 stars. I felt like the characters weren't very well fleshed out. The story progressed in an unnatural and like it was unnaturally quick, but also it didn't really make sense what was happening. It didn't make sense for the two characters to come together the way they did. There was a lot of things that didn't really add up, and I'm I'm torn because I'm not sure if it's because I didn't read the other books in the series or if it's just because it was poorly written. So, unfortunately, I always feel a way about rating arcs lower because I don't, especially someone who's starting out, an indie author, I just don't want to tear them down too much. But by the same token, and I have spoken about this before on my channel, I do value integrity a lot. And I am not someone who wants to compromise my integrity by giving someone a pass when there are real issues with the writing or with the story, or I just really didn't enjoy it. I'm not going to come online and review it highly and pretend like I loved it just because it is an art copy, just because I received it for free. I don't particularly care how I receive a book, what way I read it in. That has no effect on my rating. I am simply here to tell you if I enjoyed the book, why I enjoyed it, what I enjoyed about it, and if I didn't enjoy it, why I didn't enjoy it, what I didn't like about it. And I always hope to remain open and honest about my opinions on these books. And at the end of the day, that's all it is. It's just opinions. I probably should have prefaced this video by saying these are all my opinions, but yeah, a review is just an opinion, and not every book is going to work for every person, and this book just didn't work for me. So the rest of these are in no real particular order, with the exception of my worst book of the year. These are all just books I really didn't enjoy. These are all 2 stars. Like I said, I only had one-star book. And if you've been watching my content, you already know what this book is. I was not shy about discussing it. But yeah, these are just all books that I just didn't enjoy for various reasons, and I have no real hierarchy for them, so I'll just get into them. So I have All by My Elf by Olivia Dade. I just didn't care for the writing of this book. I felt like it was boring for as short as it was. It just seemed to go on for nothing. I honestly can't really tell you what this book was about anymore. It was that unimportant to me. I honestly I can't even tell you why I didn't like it anymore. Oh, so this is Calcifer. He is such a little sweetie. He's just a little baby. His name is actually Calcifer Bacon. If anybody gets that reference. But he is very adorable. Let's see if you can hear him purring. But he is such a sweetie. So then I have Cut and Thirst by Margaret Atwood again. This was really short, but it was just boring. I think it was like 30 pages, and I couldn't wait for it to be over. Then we have The Bad Friend by Carolyn Kepnes. I didn't appreciate that, like, basically, she's not the main character, but she's the main character's friend, and she's a bad friend because she doesn't know that the guy is married or something. I forget what the deal was. She's a bad friend of something that she doesn't know, which I don't know. I just felt a way about that. Like, I had a lot of much stronger feelings about it when I initially read it. But yeah, I don't, it just didn't make any sense to me. Then I have Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. And this is another one. It's like I can see why people really enjoy this book. For me, what it is it's just like a kind of like a slice of life book. This is very, there isn't really a plot. We're really just following this character, and I just didn't care about his life. I didn't care about the choices he needed to make. I didn't care about the situation that he found himself in. I just didn't care. It wasn't very interesting to me. And yeah, so this one was a 2 star. Then I have The Cartographers by Pang Shepherd, which I feel like part of the reason why I disliked this book so much was because I was promised something that the book did not deliver on. This was not a fast paced action mystery thriller book. It was more just kind of like fantastical, and it was fantastical in like a real world way. And on top of that, like, it took so long for us to even get more of the mystery, because obviously the book starts off like with the mystery being very apparent, and then I feel like we just go for so long without anything further of real consequence until almost the very end of the book. Hello. And yeah, the writing was great, but for me, it was not enough action in the plot. There was not enough going on. And so, about midway through, I just didn't care anymore. And I just wanted to get through it. This is another book that I probably should have DNF'd, but I wanted to know what the mystery was. I was curious for the ending. Then I have Santa Killer by Divino Batista. This one, first of all, it was not apparent that it was a translated work. So that kind of took away from my enjoyment. And also, the translation was very poor. And I even said in the reading vlog, I'm not sure what the qualifications are to be a translator, but I feel like this one just really missed the mark on an accurate translation, because there were things that it was very clear were not grammatically correct. The sentence structures were not how you would read them in English. I don't know how better to describe it. It's one of those books. I mean, it was very short, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But it's something that's like you read it and you know that this is not written by someone who speaks English or has a firm grasp on the English language. Then I unfortunately have A House at the Bottom of the Lake by Josh Mallerman. And again, I discussed this in the reading vlog. I didn't like this book. It I just wanted more from it, I think. I just wanted something more to the thriller element, and the ending was so, it was open. I enjoy an open ending, but this ending was open in a way that it didn't make sense. It just wasn't, I don't know. I don't know how to explain why I didn't like this. I feel like there was something going on and at the same time nothing going on. I feel like I almost missed what was happening, but I know that I didn't. They're just, I don't know. It was weird, but not in the way that I like. Then sadly, I have Don't You Cry by Mary Kubica. This one, again, it was just very boring. And after I read it and rated it, I noticed that a lot of people didn't really care for this one either. So I don't think it was just me, but like I don't know, the mystery took a really long time, and it just, there were points in this book where it was so boring. Again, I probably should have DNF'd it, but I really did want to know how the story ended. Then I have Paradise Rot by Jenny Haval, and it's so funny because I feel like this was well written if it had been written about something else. There was so much about pee, like urine. And I didn't love that. It was, I feel like, a body rot. Like, it was more than body horror. It was just body rot. Like, she's just rotting, I feel like. And yeah, I just didn't care for it. And this could totally be my taste. It just wasn't for me. I just didn't jive with it. I didn't like it. Which I feel conflicted about because, like I said, I feel like the writing was really good. It was powerful. It was insightful. It was extremely descriptive, but because of the subject matter, I wanted it to stop. And then my worst book of the year, the only one-star review I had was Graveyard Shift by ML Rio. Now, I do not hold anything for ML Rio. I have never read anything by this author before, so I am not giving them the benefit of the doubt based on anything else. But to be fair, I don't really give any author the benefit of the doubt whether I've read something from them before because Mary Kubica, I had read a book from her prior to reading Don't You Cry, and I gave it 5 stars and I loved it, and I absolutely did not love this book. So it doesn't really matter to me, but I just wanted to say that, this is my first introduction to ML Rio. And this book, for me, it was almost like, and I believe I said this in the reading vlog as well. For me, it was like walking into a conversation that was already going on and then standing there for 5 minutes, knowing absolutely nothing that was happening other than hearing the words coming out of someone's mouth and walking off and leaving the conversation as it was still going. I feel like I opened a book to the middle and then read 5 chapters and closed the book. I have no context for what's going on. This almost feels like an excerpt of something. There was no real beginning and no real end. There was no resolution. It was weird. I guess, marketing or the way it was presented was not how it was executed. In my opinion, this was a fail. If I could have given it 0 stars, I would have. And the only reason why I didn't DNF it is because, one, it was a shorter book, and two, I kept hoping that something would happen to make everything make sense because I do enjoy a book that starts off where it's almost like you're thrust into the middle of what's happening, and as you continue reading, things start to unfold and make more sense. And then, once you get to the end, everything is resolved, all the pieces come into place, and it is this beautiful piece of work. I kept hoping for that with this, and that is not what I got. I got nothing. I got disappointment. I got me wasting my time reading this book when I could have been reading something else. And yeah, for all of those reasons, I absolutely hated my time with this book. I feel like I wasted my time, and it will be a cold day before I pick up anything else by ML Rio, unfortunately. I don't know if I will ever read anything by this person again. Okay, guys, so that was my worst books of 2024. I feel like it wasn't too bad. It wasn't an overly negative year as far as reading goes, so I don't really feel one way or the other. I hope you enjoyed finding out what my worst books were, regardless. And if you guys had some bad books or books that you want to talk about that you didn't like, or even if you liked or didn't like these books, I would love to hear about that in the comments below. But that is going to do it for this video. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.